guys, and welcome back to the New Tennis Era podcast. My name's Anthony Hirsch, and today I'm going to be talking about the Almaty Open, where Daniil Medvedev wins his first ATP title in 882 days. Medvedev is back in business, playing at a high level. It was a thrilling final against Moutet, which I will break down. I really enjoyed this final a lot. So many great shots and rallies in this match, and most exciting thing of all is honestly Medvedev being back at this level. So I'm going to talk about that, a few other things as well. Please don't forget to subscribe to Quality Shot Tennis if you haven't already, and don't forget to like the video. Thank you for joining in. So Medvedev, it has been 2-something odd years since Medvedev has picked up a title. That was in Rome in 2023, and he wins his 21st title, still in a different city, and it's still a different title. Every single tournament that Medvedev has won has been in a different city at a different event, which is just amazing, and it's hilarious. And the crazy thing about that, I mean, it's been said to death at this point because that statistic is just insane, but the stat for Medvedev specifically, for Medvedev to have that stat is so patently crazy because it's not like he has 21 different titles scattered across all three surfaces. He has 21 titles on one surface, and none of them have been repeated. He hasn't defended a title, which I don't know if it's necessarily a positive statistic for him necessarily, but it's a crazy one. He hasn't defended a title, and if he picks up his game on clay and grass, this is a stat that could go on till 30 titles, 35 titles. If he wins almost any, clay or grass court title, then it's only going to add to this crazy stat. Or the Australian Open, by the way, which he also has not won. But anyway, already this stat is one of the craziest that we've seen all century in the sport. So I just want to put that out there. This final, going on to talk about the final, extremely high level, dramatic final, unclear who's going to pick up the trophy at the end of the day, obviously, but mainly because Moutet beat Medvedev in Washington in 3 sets a couple months ago, and obviously, yes, Medvedev hasn't picked up a title. He's been to some finals, but he hasn't been able to go all the way, so the question marks were on Daniil if he can get it done. Medvedev, first serve percentage, so good. His serve looking better, showing great depth, smart tactics, gutsy tennis from Medvedev against a very quick, athletic, and crafty, unpredictable Corentin Moutet. The Frenchman so unpredictable with his slices and his style of play that is not always pretty, but he's just so talented. He finds ways to manufacture and craft together tennis points. It's amazing. And mentally, he's improved a lot too. I reckon Moutet, if he keeps up this level, I've had my eye on him. I think he's been in my players to watch category when I do the power rankings, because obviously I have a top 10 power rankings, and then I also add on just 3 other players that I kind of have my eye on. That's not necessarily the number 11 to number 13 of the power rankings. It's just 3 other players I have my eye on. Moutet, I think, has been in that category because this is a guy that I'm like, wow, he is playing at a level that's like a top 20 level. That's what Medvedev said too. And it's been like that for really the last 2 or 3 months. So shout out to him. I think he's good for the game, and I actually hope that he does nab a title because I think it's good for the game. And Medvedev being back, I think, is also good for the game. And also, we had 2 other ATP tournaments going on this week. Before I dive into a deeper analysis of Medvedev against Moutet, Casper Ruud picked up a title. I think that's good for the game. To see these kind of guys at the top of the game and winning in form, I think that they're people that round out the ATP Tour very, very well at the top of the tour, and we need that depth. So seeing Ruud and Medvedev, who both can bring such a fantastic level, particularly Casper on clay and particularly Medvedev on hard court, but still, it's a very exciting thing for tennis. They might not be, as service versatile as a Sinner, as an Alcaraz, but they're both very good to see. Also, FAA continuing on a great form. He's been very high in my power rankings. That is why. He is doing very well. So that's the other things that have been going on in the tennis world. Casper in particular caught my eye. He's been playing really, really well, but so has Daniil Medvedev. What a smart match from him, constantly targeting the Moutet backhand, again and again, peppering that backhand, and his net game was on. His net game was absolutely on, and his vertical movement, moving up and down the court, moving forward into the court, was just amazing. He hit some great stick save volleys, great smashes. His transition game looking better, but his volleys to back that up. The net game is looking as good as ever from Medvedev, and I love that he used it basically as a tactic. In the first set, he just came out, going to the net all the time. The set point, he ended at the net. I mean, he was at the net a lot in this match, so that's good to see that he can do that with success. It reminds me of the Australian Open last year. I thought that he was starting to round out his game and add some elements to his game. He was only going to get better and better. He had some shoulder issues. His serve got worse. As long as the serve is there, I think Medvedev is a guy that can still, if he's at this level that he played this week, I think he can contend for slams, but the big question mark comes with, can he beat Sinner Alcaraz, right? If Sinner Alcaraz out of the picture, I would say without a shadow of a doubt he can contend for slams. Now, if I say he can contend for slams, that kind of assumes that he can beat Sinner Alcaraz. I don't know who can beat Sinner Alcaraz at the moment. He's beaten Sinner at Wimbledon last year. He's beaten Alcaraz at the US Open. I don't know. But basically, what I'm saying is I'm very excited by his level, and he is the guy that at the moment we've seen a level which can contend for slams, and Djokovic is now 38, 39. It looks like it's going to be very tough for him to beat Sinner Alcaraz. Medvedev is still exciting on a hard court, so and in best 3 out of 5. So that's just something that I'd want to put out there as well. Talking a little bit deeper about the match and what we saw, the first set, absolute roller coaster. Absolute roller coaster. Medvedev having success moving forward, as I said. And he's playing smart, he's playing gutsy, moving forward. And he's getting there so fast off of Moutet, who's obviously hitting a lot of drop shots. This is the guy that's will slice and dice and drop shot or fake drop shot, forehand slice, whatever it takes to kind of pull it together. But Moutet, honestly, at the end of the day, just a couple slightly subpar shot selection choices. Medvedev fighting so well in the set. Like I said, he was behind. I think it was like 1-3, love 30, with Moutet having a really good look to potentially get a double break. Medvedev fighting back to win the set from that. Roller coaster set, really intense, high level. And Moutet just has to do so much against Medvedev at this level. He has to play almost perfect. Medvedev hitting with so much depth. He's patient, he's fast, consistent, confident. Like I said, doing work at the net too. So it was really just a couple of slightly subpar shot choices, such as a 30 all in the final game at 5-6. Moutet's actually in control, and Moutet, even though it's worked for him a couple times in this set, he goes for way too much on this forehand down the line. Moutet basically going for the sideline, and he misses it by a few inches. He didn't need to go that big. He was already in control. He had Medvedev out of position. Has a lot to do with what Medvedev's doing. Both these guys are super quick. But Medvedev, at the end of the day, playing smarter in the moments, in the final moments of the set. And like I said, the set point, Medvedev just playing an absolutely fantastic point at the net. Second set, there's a poor error-filled game from Medvedev, which gives the break to Moutet at 3-all. That was after Medvedev fought hard to get the break back, but Moutet really doing very crafty, impressive shot making that's hurting Medvedev, and just playing smart, giving all kinds of looks to Medvedev, hitting some off-pace shots that are a bit awkward for Medvedev, especially to the forehand, where he might have to, whereas usually Moutet's hitting a little bit harder with some depth, or slicing it, just a few just regular topspin shots that are low over the net, or flat shots are low over the net. but short and off pace. It kind of makes it awkward for Medvedev, especially moving in and hitting it low with his forehand. Just some awkward shots that Medvedev nets a couple of them. And Moutet is just more gutsy than he was in the first set at the end of the set, going for the big blows and aggressive shots before Medvedev can do them. Especially because Medvedev is really doing Moutet's play style, and I guess Medvedev's general play style, but where he's not really winning pretty, but he's just like improvising, crafting, and manufacturing weird points, drop shots at the net, all these kinds of things. But now Moutet is kind of beating Medvedev to the punch and going aggressive first. And like I said, those off-pace balls kind of just throwing Medvedev off. It's the unpredictability, even though Moutet doesn't have anywhere near the serving that Medvedev does, completely outmatched in that category. From the back of the court, these guys were very neck-to-neck in this match, very neck-to-neck, and that was very promising from Moutet, but especially in the third set, Medvedev flourished, and we'll get to that. The last thing I'll mention about the second set, this was the only set, another stat I'll throw out, where Medvedev's first serve percentage was below 70, and he won 40% of second serve points. Moutet returned very well in this set. Not necessarily hitting, return winners or just hitting huge shots, but just returning very well, neutralizing Medvedev's serve. In the third set, it just gets to a point where every shot or every other shot feels like it's just unpredictability of the highest quality. Both guys are just in the flow. And it's one of those dramatic third sets where you're really excited to be watching the final. And it's just a shout out to ATP 250 tennis. It doesn't have to be a Masters, it doesn't have to be a Slam. We can have exciting stories, both guys wanting it so bad. Moutet trying to go for his first title, Medvedev trying to go for his 21st, but like I said, Medvedev, he hasn't won one in 882 days. It's been over 2 years, so it's been a while. Medvedev breaks at 3-4. So this ended up being the crucial game. The game begins with probably the shot of the match, in a match which had so many shot of the match contenders. This was just a rocketing, low, flat, cross-court forehand as Medvedev runs from one side to the other up the court to a drop volley that Moutet hits. Just ridiculous skill from Medvedev, who I've always said I think is one of the most talented players to ever pick up a racket. I'll stand by it. I don't care. This guy is ridiculous. This shot is insane. I've seen him hit it before, this kind of a shot, I think against Zverev in Australia last year. Anyway, this shot was ridiculous. Set the tone for this game. And just classic Medvedev, just locks in, plays such a tough game, smart, deep, aggressive shots, consistent, tactical, poised, gutsy, coming to net at unpredictable times, kind of keeping Moutet off balance, pushing him further and further back behind the baseline as he moves into the net. And also, just like I said, just peppering that Moutet backhand. There's so many long rallies in this match where almost every shot landed behind the baseline, whether it was an underspin shot or a topspin shot or a flat shot, especially where Medvedev's concerned. But Medvedev, for the most part, especially in the third set, winning those backcourt rallies at the end of the day, even though it was close. And even though some may view this 3-4 game as a bad game from Moutet, it really wasn't. Medvedev just played tough. Some of the errors that Moutet hit looked like unforced errors, but they were Medvedev locked in. He played with such intensity, depth, and he locked in. And Medvedev really capping off his awesome net play and tactics in this match, and gutsy play with a really defining point of the match in the last game. It was 5-3, 30-all. Moutet so fast, asking questions of Medvedev as Medvedev hits a shot that should be a winner. Medvedev is moving into his backhand corner on the deuce side, and he hits this big shot right at Medvedev's feet. Moutet's so far behind the baseline, but he still hits a shot that could have been a passing shot against numerous other ATP players. Medvedev hits this amazing half volley in such a moment, just an utterly crucial crucial half volley, and then on championship point, Medvedev finishes off at the net again, and it just feels like Medvedev's back. It feels like he's at such a high level, winning the cat and mouse against the ultimate cat and mouse player. Tactics were flawless. Both guys played so well. But the serve, I mean, I think the serve was a big thing that made the difference. The first serve percentage, backcourt rallies, I think Medvedev just narrowly had the advantage, especially because he was able to push Moutet back so often. Moutet was chasing down balls and turning points around. His shot making in this match was absurd, but Medvedev was able to just cruise through all of that, through the highs and lows. Roller coaster of a match. Thoroughly enjoyed it. That's why it's my match of the week. And yeah, that's my analysis for the match. But yeah, the first serve percentage, so good for Medi. Net play, it was all there. I think Moutet, very exciting for him. Mentally stronger than I've seen from him in the past. These are good experiences in finals. If he keeps up this level, he'll win a title. I don't see any other reality happening. Yeah, if he keeps up this level, he wins a title. It's only when, not if. So let's see about that. The guy's talent is a joke, but shout out to Medvedev. So good to see him back at this level. It's been a long wait. I started to get worried if his level is just gonna go on a downhill spiral. It was for a while, but not anymore. So that's what I would say about that. So yeah, that was my match of the week. The story of the week is Rune's unfortunate Achilles heel tear. Yeah, just the most unfortunate thing, because Rune just started getting back into form. It looked like, I mean, Casper played amazing too in the final, so who knows, but it almost looked like this was beginning to be his title to lose. He would definitely have a very good shot at it, at winning the title. He was going to beat Humbert. He was in a very advantageous position when that injury happened. So yeah, just heart out to Rune, because that sucks, honestly, for him. I did not really want to get into the Six King Slam, but the one thing that I will talk about is Sinner played unreal. Obviously, his level in that match is unreal. I don't really want to get into an exhibition. But what I will say is Sinner's serve, that's going to be a problem. The guy's changed his service motion. This guy is gunning for Alcaraz. He's way better than everybody else on the tour other than Alcaraz. But he's going to change his game, even if it's a risk for him to lose, not just to Alcaraz, but to everybody else. He's trying new things out. His lone goal is to beat Alcaraz and get that top spot. That's awesome to see. The work these guys are putting in to be the best and push each other to that level. The power rankings, number 1, Carlos Alcaraz. The Six King Slam doesn't count for anything. I watched the final in full, to be transparent. The Six King Slam final, it was very entertaining. Sinner's level was unreal. He also proved me wrong. I picked Carlos to win in straights. Have to give it to Yannick, because he played insane. I picked Carlos because I watched him in the semis, and I couldn't imagine anybody in tennis history beating Carlos when he's playing like he did against Fritz in the semis. I'm I'm hyperbolizing a bit, but he was playing incredible, so I picked Carlos. But yeah, shout out to Yannick, because he was unplayable. And basically on indoor hard courts, he is unplayable. Number 2 is Sinner. Number 3 is Djokovic. Number 4 is Fritz. Number 5 is FAA. That all stays the same. FAA had a good week, though, so shout out to him. Number 6 is Daniil Medvedev, who moves up to number 6. More than results, it's his level that really pushes him to the spot and pushes De Minaur down a spot. He's number 7. Number 8 is Casper Ruud. Same thing with him. It's really his level this in the final particularly, but this week as a whole, that really impresses me. He's going to be a guy to watch for, especially on the clay next year, but when he plays like this, he can play anywhere. I mean, he's had success on hard courts as well. It's just the grass that he... it's basically a non-existent surface for him, but his level was really impressive this week, so I have to give it to him. Number 9 is Vatro. He didn't play this week, but I have to keep him here from his performance in Shanghai, of course. And then number 10 is Rinderknecht. Same thing goes for him. My players to watch, Corentin Moutet. for all the reasons I said earlier. Crafty, unpredictable, nightmare of a player in many ways. Such a talent. So fast. One of the fastest on tour. Lehechka stays as a player to watch as well. And also Lerner Tien moved out of the power rankings, but he remains a player to watch for me because I think that he's still one of the more informed players on the tour, and one of the more exciting as well from the young talents. That was my analysis and sort of thorough breakdown of this week, particularly the Almaty Open. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video. I'll be here talking about Basel and Vienna as well on the New Tennis Era podcast. Thank you for joining in. I'll see you at the next one.